Hi listeners, welcome to my channel. While the week ahead is colored by the eclipse we have on 10th of June, which we have covered in much detail separately, today I wanted to cover the Pluto oppositions which we are going to face in July. An early preview of those Pluto oppositions are being experienced right now, and we would further experience them in the week ahead of ourselves. These would show up or might have already showed up as power struggles, conflicts, revelations, leading to more powerful, authentic, and focused actions. Anger is going to drive a powerful turn of a tide. Anger is going to drive a very powerful transformation that Pluto is bringing from within. This is not the only aspect at play in July, but it would very much be physically and mentally felt on 17th of July specifically, when we reach the half cycle of Pluto retrograde, which initiated on 27th of April. This week, we are going to get a preview of that tide turning, of that anger driving a powerful transformation. We are going to get into the details of all of that today. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's dig in. Something or someone seems to have power over our actions right now. And in some ways, any emotional display is very suboptimal, as our power of expression is compromised. With Mercury retrograde, the expression is not at its best. It seems we need to act despite not knowing where we are going, and despite the power plays, which seem to make us feel doubtful of what we ourselves feel, and doubtful of every step we take. Cut the tears and get to work, comes the voice from the underworld of our own life. Structures conflict with heart's comfort, deeper meaning of life and its treasures, conflict with the controlled environment of a walled room manned by a jailer called boss or society. Cozy warmth of home and relationships conflict with the need to make a mark in the world. Role of wife, mother, spouse, family man, they conflict with the burning desire to climb that ladder. Emotions conflict with authority. Psychological depth conflicts with the need for recognition. The child in us fights the expected, powerful adult behavior. Early conditioning and emotional patterns fight who we need to become for the future in business or in society. We somehow feel ill-equipped emotionally and physically to face the battles of our outer life. Yet, like a hurt or a rejected child, we feel driven to show them. A suboptimal tantrum is thrown. This is just a preview of this conflict. Real display of it would be on and around 17th of July, when we fight our demons and another irreversible shift in who controls our life path and how we balance our inner life and our outer life is brought to life and surface. Pluto here will test our integrity in face of harsh circumstances. It's here to purge us of a psychological pattern which is lethal in some senses to the future us. It's the pattern which is death to our soul and our material progress. In face of opposition, this pattern is played outside of ourselves, usually involving another person. It's like a way for our psyche to actively engage with itself by having a struggle personified as a real person who seems to be holding everything we want back, who seems to be holding us back, who seems to be holding our forward move. Unrealized potentials, unmet desires, and hidden resources with no avenue of expression are externalized to be brought on by another person. It's like a purification ritual as the unseen becomes seen through another person. Especially if we allow ourselves to watch this all play out like a third person watching it happening, with the knowledge that that's what is happening. It is our inner conflict playing out in real life. We will derive so much out of all of this experience we're about to have. The 17th of July Sun-Pluto opposition is about to illuminate the struggle in real life. But this week and this weekend, we're going to see a preview of this. It's our ego which is resisting a death of something structural in our life. It's just not letting go. And the power struggles, explosive fights, and discussions would be the evidence that we are not letting go control of what cannot be controlled anymore. Pluto, once it starts a cycle of transformation, there is no stopping it. But somehow since 27th of April, when Pluto went stationary and then retrograde, it seemed like that process froze. Because that process was being internalized. This journey began with that Scorpio full moon and Pluto retrograde end of April. And I had said at that time as well, you will face this moment. You will face this moment of challenge. And do not shrink, do not go back, do not ever break this connection with your own life force, which Scorpio full moon is showing you. Well, we reach that moment. That moment will come on 17th of July, but you'll start experiencing that moment of opposition in this week itself. Ego would want to go back because it feels comfortable, flattered, easy, warm, fuzzy in the old situation. Past feels rosy in the rearview mirror, but reliving it is not the way forward. It is out of your control to go ever back to who you were in past, because Pluto irreversibly, irrevocably changes us as a person. The concept of mortality of our experiences, because our experiences, our life experiences, they are mortal. So this concept of mortality of our experiences, but the immortality of our soul is something this transit is trying to drive back home. The experiences we have had, or we're going to have through other people and through situations, they are mortal. They may never come back again. But what is immortal is the soul within us who's craving for new experiences. Life has more in store for you, but the more our ego tries to control the outcome, because ego will always try to recreate the old circumstances and the old environment, and hence with the whole same set of emotional complexes, it will come to the same dead end. So the more our ego tries to control the outcome and not let go of what's dead, the weaker our forward march is going to be. And the more we would just be stuck in a Groundhog Day. This is like being stuck in a Groundhog Day. I mean, the winter is not going to end as long as the groundhog keeps looking at his shadow. There is no other way. He has to be stopped. The assault is real, and it seems that we did not learn from our past mistakes. So it could be a repeat of a situation. Like the universe is running an unending loop unless we learn the lesson. There are very few issues of which the solution lies outside of ourselves. Yet in this particular opposition, it's possible that there is physical aggression involved. So if we are physically in the way of someone's aggression, we must remember to always choose ourselves and get out of that situation. There is no comfort in a controlled, abusive life. We never want to be the puppet of another's show, no matter what the fears of freedom are whispering in our ears. You never want to be puppet of another person's show. Crimes of passion, physical assault are very common under the shadow of this aspect. And we should be careful in general of boundaries being encroached upon. And this aspect has been in making for the last few days. So you might have experienced some of it already, but more of it is about to happen. Last week, we had a lot of positive aspects to shield all of that. But we don't have that in the coming week. This opposition now and in mid-July will make us face the inevitable. Whenever Sun opposition Pluto happens, which will happen on 17th of July, there is a clear cut, a clear departure from the past. There is a clearance of the past, and that clearance of the past will be actively worked through an anger, through a conflict, through a possible encroachment of boundaries which you'll protect yourself from in these days. It can feel like an issue of life and death, as two parts of our psyche and our life would be at fight with each other. One wants to retreat back to its comfort zone, make nice, and the other wants to finally say goodbye to an old chapter which was abusing, which was reducing, which was causing damage to you. It will challenge our very definition of safety, because sometimes abusive and being reduced by somebody can also be your place of safety and security. It will challenge the value we place on safety and security. At what cost? What has it brought us? And how much it has made us lose ourselves. It doesn't have to be an assault by another person. It could be a comfort zone we are hiding ourselves in. It might feel like a comfort zone, but actually we are abusing ourselves and holding ourselves back over there in that comfort zone. It will challenge those emotional patterns of needing that safety and security, which in itself may not be safe and secure and might itself be abusive in nature. We cover ourselves in this cloak of safety and security, but you're actually just abusing your life and holding yourself back by holding yourself in those patterns. It will challenge those emotional patterns. It will challenge the emotional patterns we were brought up with, which will not serve us in future. You'll have to somehow stand up against your own emotional patterns. You'll have to stand up for yourself against the emotional patterns we were conditioned to accept, conditioned to be born with and brought up with. Sometimes you need a good fight to be able to yell to someone or something or some part of your life or your own old identity. Sometimes you need to have a good fight to yell at that old stuff, saying, "You are dead to me." That yelling would begin now. You are dead to me. Even if we compromise this month, because we are in a mutable month where we adjust, we maybe try to make nice in this first conflict, this power struggle would not go away. It would become louder. This wanting to get out of this control of something which is dead, it will become louder. This choice would become louder in Cancer season. And we are going to face this again on 17th of July. We would need to tap into our deep reservoirs of drive, relentlessness, of self-love here, as we are almost pushed to assert our power, to transform, to break a groundhog circle. This is a groundhog circle of abusive and destructive patterns. We'll be pushed to scrape off the dead aspects of our life. It could be a weight of a person, it could be weight of a societal pressure, it could be a structure, it could be an old identity you are still holding on to. I am this when you're no more that. And then the productive way is to channel that anger into focused, powerful, single-minded actions to move forward. You will find people swinging between ruthlessness, which is the negative aspect, negative way of expression of it, because you're trying to control another person's life when you cannot control yours. That's the shadow side of it, which we'll see. People trying to control how other people act so they can feel safe. Or you will see people also swing to unrelenting courage and come out with the courage which was just hiding below the surface, and they just needed this push to get that out of them. Actions would show you, truly show you what the other people are made of. Words are not going to say it. Actions will show you. Words and information is going to be blurry, but actions would unbury a lot of secrets. Like the words can lie, but the actions are going to speak louder. Unrelenting courage to face the truth and channeling all of that rage of being controlled by another or unmet dreams and desires into forward transformation is the constructive manifestation of this aspect. We have to channel all of this anger and rage and unrelenting courage to break free, to break through something which feels really hard to do at this time. Structurally hard to do. It's not part of our mold. It's not part of who we are made of. There will be drive to investigate and uncover what's unseen. And we have already seen this aspect in action last week with many physical abuses of authorities, of teachers, of old authoritarian schools, etc., being exposed, which were buried for centuries. Why to come out with all of that now? Why to uncover all this right now? Why would anybody want to do that? Because if you don't see where the horrors of human need to control and anger can take a person, how do we evolve forward from those impulses? How do we unchain as a society ourselves from that cycle of putting others and ourselves in a more exaggerated or milder forms of abuses and controls, those were extremely disheartening and extremely painful ways of showing those patterns. But they do show up in milder form of abuses and controls in all our lives. If we don't see them play out what physically they look like, how do we unchain ourselves from that abusive cycle ourselves? This aspect is a powerful force. Buried anger, rage energy, and stifled wills, as well as unmet desires, will come to surface. And the only release is physical. We're physically getting rid of toxins. We're physically getting rid of the dead and the decaying parts of ourselves and our society. We're shedding light to every sordid corner to find the gunk, to release it out of our existence. We will not feel easy going in this process. We are not supposed to feel easy going in this process. This is self-driven. This is self-obsessive. This is self-willed transformation. It's body breaking, it's exhausting, it's all consuming, it's pushing yourself to the limits, and we will be physically pushing ourselves to the limit to break through. You have to be careful about that physically, but it gives us immense courage to start over. Anger fuels transformation here. Pluto is bigger than us, it's beyond us, it's a power of raw truth. And weak, half-hearted actions from fear, actions to please others, fake efforts, they will be challenged by Pluto. This is like Pluto's words right now, like Yoda's words. Do or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no try. This physical energy needs physical release. So we don't internally explode from bitterness of what could have been, or unmet passions that consume us or taunt us from what could have been. What's buried once uncovered can be immense source of forward healing and progress, because we are accepting all parts of ourselves. And then, you are dead to me is a powerful statement. It's a powerful acceptance. It's a powerful turning point. But what comes after that is that it's all on you. Moon is in Aries, and it's all on you. Once you have released that control, that whole identity, Aries, which is the apex of the cardinal T-square of a conundrum we are facing right now, puts all the onus on our initiative. There is nobody else to be held accountable for what happens from here on. Moon in Aries is intensifying this feeling and in some ways making us feel more alive in this choice being handed back of our life to us, like a sense of relief in accepting our role in creation of our life in some ways. You don't like it? Take the reins and change it. You don't want it to be stagnant anymore? Start moving. It's all on you. Choose you. Put yourself first. Your path is not going to be similar to anybody else. Your way out of this is not going to be what another person's was. Your initiative, your startup, your starting point, your initiation of your new life is not going to look like anybody's else. That's why nobody can tell you how to get out of this Groundhog Day cycle. Because the movement outside is going to look very unique to each person. But your inner voice is trying to get louder. Universe is throwing hints like boulders right now during Mercury retrograde. But we keep on trying to find the logical answer of this conflict. When it's all on you anyways, why does it need to comply to logic of the world? You are the one who has to live it. Why does it have to be logical to the world? You are the one who needs to initiate it too. This "you are dead to me" acceptance is very much immediately followed by "it's all on you." So the ball is very much in our court right now to make the next move, to make the initiation. And that's what this aspect and this weekend brought with Pluto oppositions to me. And we will experience physically this turning of the tide, this shift, which is not at all subtle, because we're going to physically and mentally feel this change in intensity of our life, like flipping of a coin, and it's just a shift in how we handle power, how we channel all of this into a physical transformation of our life, which will be physically felt on 17th of July, and we get a preview of that in the coming week of that. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video now. Have a great weekend. Thank you.